I remember one just like this. It can't be true.
White as driftwood salt, the dwarf flinches at your approach, yet she holds a short, clean blade aloft. Her fierce stance can't hide the trembling of her fingers.
Back! Get back! I'll kill you, just like the rest of them!
As soon as you respond in kind to her threat, she blanches and drops her blade. Terror in her eyes, she stumbles away from you.
Fasten tight.
A scruffy kid bounds up and stands before you, hands on hips. He stares at
You Ben Mez? You sure? Yep, that's just what he said you'd say, Ifan. Righto, got a message for you. Chap called Baron Laveri wants to see you. Black Bull Tavern, first floor.
The kid shoves his hands in his pockets and ambles off.
Get yourself in check, boy. I won't have you running off like Millicent and Tully. You'll just end up sliding down some Voidwoken's gross gullet, piece by piece.
The older-looking magister notices your presence. He wipes his grubby hands downward across his greaves, as if to wipe away the grime, but instead smears more dirt onto them.
Halt, Scaleskin! What word do you bring?
What?
His face goes pale, and his eyes open wide. The magister that greeted you remains stiff, as if enduring a harsh wind.
The Voidwoken come.
Hush, Fedder. You may pass, Lizard. Dare say he'll be aching to leave before long anyway. But before you do, find Raymond. The White Magister. He'll want to know what you've seen. Be quick, mind. He's set to sail any moment.
He nods his head in the direction of the bridge, but offers no other instructions.
As long as you stay put.
A Magister guard approaches. Behind her, on the gallows, 2 lizards. One in a Magister uniform hangs dead from her neck. The other hangs from her hands, still alive.
Step away from the prisoner, Red Scales! You're going to... What, now? She betrayed Alexander. I'd sooner die than free her. I'll regret this, I know I will. All right, I'll stand aside.
The lizard hangs from the gibbet, her face blooded and her scales discoloured. Her eyes are closed, but her tongue flickers as you approach.
Welcome to Driftwood, God-woken.
One bloody eye cracks open, glittering gold appearing from beneath the swollen lid.
Chased you all the way here from Fort Joy, did they? Very well then, cut me down. There is work to be done. Or indeed you could stand there still as a boiled lobster. You seem to have mastered that look.
The lizard grimaces, shifting awkwardly as she dangles.
I am in intense pain, Kin. You are either insufferably cruel or insufferably stupid. Be quick about it. Who knows when that Magister might return? God's teeth, it feels good to move again. Now, best scurry off before that Magister wanders back. Meet me at my home in Driftwood, and we can see what you're made of.
This place has seen better days. The meistr sits slumped in a chair, looking around the room as she works her shoulder with one hand. It looks like it was dislocated by the gallows.
Damnable red-cloaked baboons ransacking my wardrobes, as if I would keep ancient valuable secrets in a pile with my unmentionables.
She takes a deep breath, and with a twist, a click, and a screech of pain, she shoves her shoulder back into its socket.
I swear by the seven, if we did not have more important matters to attend to.
Reaching across the table, she pulls a bowl of hot water towards her and fishes some bandages, a needle, and thread out of a box. She slowly starts to tend to her wounds.
At least the barbarians were unable to club their way into my vault, so everything you need should be safe. Enthusiasm? On a weekday? My word. We shall begin once we have the tools we need from my vault. You may have been chosen God-woken, but becoming divine requires more than a supernatural pat on the head. Come, God-woken. It is time to see just how awake you are. Fortunately, the Magisters pay as much attention to art as they do to fashion. Kindly remove that painting from the wall. I pray my instructions will not be too technical for you. Your talent points, push the button. Now, kindly go to the vault and enter the combination. I shall call it out as you go.
A stone door lies flush with the floorboards. Etched whorls in the granite frame a delicate rotary dial. Gleaming under the dim light, the metallic dial almost seems to wink at you. Taking your time, you carefully enter the combination. The metallic sounds of the tumblers falling within the mechanism let you know you entered the code correctly.
Follow me. Look.
Ancient ruins, weird contraptions. This
Feel
place
free
is an
to look
arcanist's
out while I
dream.
catch my breath. Come speak to me when you wish to proceed.
The meistr is examining her wounds, prodding at this, wincing at that. Her face seems grim as she turns to you.
Do you know what it means to have the power of the divine, Godwoken? You've been playing pretend all your life, but the reality is quite different. No, becoming the divine means taking on the power of all the gods and the responsibility for all the races. The divine was created by the gods to shelter us from the void. The divine cannot use his power for anything else. Very well then. Let's see if we can't snatch divinity from the jaws of the void. The ritual itself is quite simple. Drop some blackroot in the bowl, mix in a little blood, set the concoction aflame, and then inhale the smoke. Ignore any feelings of dizziness, burning in your lungs, or a dire sense of existential dread. They're all perfectly normal, although you will need to sacrifice a little sauce along the way. Everything you need is here. The ingredients are in the cupboard, the sauce in the fountain. The ritual is described in the tome by the bookcase, and, well, I'm sure a fine reptile like yourself will have no trouble summoning some fire.
The meistr looks back at her wounds, curiously prodding them as fresh blood oozes out, staining her claws.
Once, although not by a Godwoken. My assistant did not believe that one had to be chosen by a god to become divine.
She waves a bandaged hand absent-mindedly, wincing slightly.
A headstrong and thoughtless girl, but the experience was quite educational. From observing her, I gather that the ritual involves inhaling the smoke, a lot of screaming, and a rather sudden death. Well, certainly. It is not my place to police the stupidity of others. I have to admit I was curious. Imagine if it had been a success. Why, then anyone could have ascended. Even I. Alas, success was beyond her reach. Quite fascinating to watch, though. I've never seen a body burn from the inside out before. And do not lose anything. These ingredients are rare indeed. I'm not hiking back out of the cloisterwood to fetch you more blackroot.
Opening the door, you see a selection of ingredients, thrown together in no particular order. After a quick rummage, you spot the blackroot nestled between the grated dragon's tongue and drudene oil. You gather up the blackroot, obsidian lance, and ancient bowl, and kick the door of the cupboard closed. you suck the smoke deep into your lungs, as the world fades away, you lose all sense of being grounded.
It's the recess of my soul. But it looks like a whole event.
Bathed in the half-light of these starless barrens, you spot a figure you could only describe as a second self. It looks haggard and weak, its very voice but a feeble echo of your own.
Red Prince, come. Come closer, so that you may see me as I truly am. Look me in the eyes.
The apparition clasps your face in its shaking hands. You suddenly feel your eyes tingle. Everything becomes brighter, sharper. Blacks and whites become glorious bursts of color, then fade back into their accustomed spectrum.
Blind eyes, shine brightly. Speak the spell and see.
Gone is the strange mirror image of yourself. Before you stands the goddess Zolstissa in all her spectral glory.
You know me now, don't you? I saved you from drowning. I blessed you, made you powerful. And now I've come to seek some power in return. Your God-woken soul is my last refuge, my last bastion. May as well make the best of what you have to offer.
Zolstissa nourishes herself from the source that abounds in your presence. You feel it deep down inside yourself.
Ah, yes. Just what I needed. I tell you, dying just doesn't become a god. Don't you dare to be ungrateful after all I've done for you. I sheltered you. Now you must shelter me. The void itself is hunting down the gods, leeching us in ways we never thought possible. Droplet by droplet, we are being drained. We're battling for our very survival. It's a battle we're losing, and should we truly lose, all will be cast into oblivion. Well, sort of. But by all means, let that be a motivator, not a cause for concern. You must realize, Red Prince, that our fates are now as one, just as our souls are now as one. We are I. Together we are a force to be reckoned with. But if we seek to survive the onslaught of the void, we stand no chance unless we become vastly more powerful than we are now. That means there is but one place we can go. The Well of Ascension. It most certainly will be. The Well of Ascension is a lake, a pool of pure source, in which the powers of the Seven lie united. We gave them up freely to create the first divine. Each of us donated half of that which makes us gods. To bathe in the lake is to become our chosen. That is where the road to divinity leads, and you must be the first to reach it at all costs. I know. Or did you think I chose you for those ember eyes alone? One must never enter into any endeavor, though, without realizing the stakes. The void is stronger than ever. A new divine won't be enough. You need to go to the Well of Ascension. Not to bathe in the source of the Seven, but to take it. All of it. Only he who claims everything will be everything. The void's doom, this world's liberator. It's very simple, really. They will either bow to you or be undone. But of course, that is what they are saying to their own God-woken as we speak. We both know they won't bow, just like we both know you will never bow to them. Only one can become a god strong enough to safeguard our world. One at the expense of all others. So make no mistake, Red Prince. Chances are the road to divinity will be paved with dead gods. Their blood on your blood-red hands. But don't let that dismay you. For these sins will be washed clean by the knowledge you committed them to save all of existence. To save you, I promise that yours alone will be the powers of the lake. And to the lake I will lead you. But not yet. Not until you've become a true master of the Source. Until you speak the language of creation itself. Our journey will be fraught with peril. It is a pilgrimage of challenges that will require you to command Source like only a God-woken can, and wield its most powerful spells.
Laughter rolls and echoes into infinity.
You flatter me, my prince. But if all I had to do was give, you would long since have received. We are I now. The spells you need to know I will teach you when you are ready, but first you must learn to channel the Source in greater volumes. That is why you need to seek masters of the Source. You must make them teach you, so that you may become a master in turn. So, return to Rivalon, and seek out these sages where they dwell. Convince them to share with you their deep-seated bond with the Source. Once you have, you may return to me here. Something that'll make you understand that for a god, there is precious little difference between the living and the dead. Source is. It is a constant, a subject of neither time nor transience. You have the vision of a god now. Speak the spell during your peregrinations, and you will see them. Best of luck, Red Prince.
The Meistr stares intently at you. Her eyes are tired and bruised, but determined.
Still alive? Gods above, there might be something to you after all.
She leans in, her bloody tongue flickering hungrily about your fate.
Tell me, what did you see? What do you know?
She stares intently for a moment, taking in every detail before sighing deeply.
You didn't have enough Source, did you? You had all the materials, but not the Source. That is unfortunate. I know exactly what must be done. You must find a master of Source. And I could have helped you once, but no longer. The purging which the Magisters included as part of their service was quite efficient. They stripped me of my Source. Not enough to silence me, but enough that I would not turn their insides to lime. Enough to sever my link to the font from which all Source flows, and certainly enough that I cannot train you. So we must seek alternatives. Alas, the only Source Masters not yet hauled off to Fort Joy or turned into meat puppets are those too dangerous or cunning for the Magisters to contain. Sorcerers that allowed their power to corrupt them. Many are wicked, cruel, vile, and generally not good teacher material, but we may have no others to turn to. You will not be there long, I assure you. There is only so much you can glean from a twisted mind. However, it is the path we walk, no matter what the cost.
The Meistr doubles over in a violent coughing fit, struggling for breath. After a few moments, she regains her composure, wiping a thin smear of blood from the corner of her mouth.
No matter what is asked of you, you must learn from them. And you do not seem to be paying attention. Sorcerers, evil, controlling your Source, saving Rivalon, please. Please tell me at least some of this rings a bell. Your focus, your only focus, must be on finding these masters, on finding the secrets to divinity. Nothing else matters. The Magisters have kept ledgers with all known sorcerers, especially the powerful ones not yet captured. They would be an invaluable resource, but do be careful not to get caught. I was their guest for a time, And I promise you the gallows was the most comfortable part of the experience. And if their barracks turns out to be as empty as their skulls, just try to keep an ear to the ground. There may still be powerful sorcerers hiding in these lands.
As she speaks, one of her wounds reopens, a dark red stain spreading across her tunic. She hisses in frustration and starts to bind the gash.
I wish there was more I could do, but in this condition, I would be more a hindrance than a boon. Godspeed, and remember, do whatever it takes.
All hell broke loose. Good times. Good times. I wonder if they'll remember me.
The spirit of an emaciated prisoner is staring down at his own corpse. He shakes his head and lets out an exasperated sigh.
Of all the stupid ways to go.
The spirit scowls at you.
I did nothing. Or I didn't do what they accused me of, at least. A miscarriage of justice is what this is. Easy for you to judge. You can just stroll out of here whenever you please. How about you go and do that now and leave me the hell alone?
Surrounded by incompetence. Better post it.